Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Desatarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Krishna. So we continue reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, Sankhya Yoga or contents of Gita summarized. And today we'll take from shloka number 8. So let us chant the shloka. Nahi nahi prapashyami mama panudyad
Nahi prapashyami mama panudyat
yaschokam uchoshanam indriyanam
yacchokamuccoshanam indriyanam
अवाप्य भूभाव सपत्नम रूधम
avapya bhuma vasapatnam ruddham
राज्यं सुराणापि च अधिपत्यम्
rajyam suranam apichadipatyam
न हि प्रपश्यामि ममापनुद्यात्
nahi prapashyami mama panudyat
यच्चोकमुच्चोषणमिन्द्रियाणाम्
yacchokamuccoshanam indriyanam
वाप्य भूभाव सपत्नं रूधम्
avapya bhuma vasapatnam ruddham
राज्यं सुराणापि चाधिपत्यम्
rajyam suranam apichadipatyam.
Please chant if anybody wants to.
Nahi prapashyami mamapanudyat yacchokamucchosanam indriyanam avapya bhuma vasapatnam ruddham rajyam suranam apichadipatyam.
Anybody else want to try? Okay, let us read translation and purport. I can find no means to dry away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it, even if I win prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in heaven. Purport. Although Arjuna was putting forward so many arguments based on knowledge of principles of religion, moral codes, it appears that he was unable to solve his real problem without the help of spiritual master, Lord Krishna. He could understand that his so-called knowledge was useless in driving away his problems, which were drying up his whole existence, and it was impossible for him to solve such perplexities without help of spiritual master like Lord Krishna. Academic knowledge, scholarship, high position, etc. are all useless in solving the problems of life. Help can be given only by spiritual master like Krishna. Therefore, the conclusion is that a spiritual master who has 100% Krishna's conscious is the bona fide spiritual master, for he can solve the problems of life. Lord Chaitanya said that one who is master in the science of Krishna consciousness, regardless of his social position, is the real spiritual master. Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Shudre Kshene Naya Yei Krishna Tattva Veta Sei Guru Hoya. It does not matter whether a person is Vipra, learned scholar in Vedic wisdom, or is born in the lower family, or is in the renounced order of life. If he is the master of the science of Krishna, he is perfect and bona fide spiritual master. Chaitanya Charitamrut Madhya 8.128. So, without being master in science of Krishna consciousness, no one is a bona fide spiritual master. It is also said in Vedic literature, Satkarma Nipuna Vipro Mantra Tantra Visharada. A Vaishnav Guru Nashad Vaishnava Swapacho Guru, a scholarly Brahman expert in all subject of Vedic knowledge, is unfit to become spiritual master without being a Vaishnav or expert in the science of Krishna consciousness. But a person born in a family of lower caste can become a spiritual master if he is a Vaishnava or Krishna conscious. It's from Padma Puran. The problems of material existence, birth, old age, disease, and death cannot be counteracted by accumulation of wealth and economic development. In many parts of the world, there are states which are replete with all the facilities of life, which are full of wealth and economically developed. Yet the problems of material existence are still present. They are seeking peace in different ways, but they can achieve real happiness only if they consult Krishna or Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which constitute the science of Krishna. Through a bona fide representative of Krishna, the man in Krishna consciousness, if economic development and material comforts could drive away one's lamentations for family, social, national, and international inventories, then Arjuna would not have said that even the unrivaled kingdom on earth or supremacy like that of demigods in the heavenly planets would be unable to drive away his lamentation. He sought therefore refuge in Krishna consciousness, and that is the right path of for peace and harmony. Economic development and supremacy over the world can be finished at any moment by the cataclysms of the material nature. Even elevation to higher planetary situation, as men are now sitting on the moon planet, can also be finished at one stroke. The Bhagavad Gita confirms Kshine Punya Martya Lokam Vishanti. When results of the pious activities are finished, one falls again to the peak of the happiness to the lowest state of life. Many politicians of the world have fallen down in that way. Such downfall may constitute more cause of lamentation. Therefore, if one want to curb the lamentation for good, then we have to take shelter of Krishna as Arjuna is seeking to do. So Arjuna asked Krishna to solve his problem definitely, and that is the way of Krishna consciousness. Nahi prapashyami mama punyatya yascho icho shanam indriyanam avapya bhuvam sapatnas mudham rajyam suranam ichadipatyam. So yesterday's sloka we saw that Arjuna took shelter of Krishna and he said that I am your disciple and you instruct me. Uh, you can instruct me as your disciple because I am surrendering unto you. And please tell me my dharma. Uh, what was the sentence that? Pruchami tvam dharma samudha chetaha. Pruchami tvam dharma. So he's asking what is his dharma. Then this shloka further is like there are many spiritual masters like Srila Prabhupada has mentioned, and Arjuna could have taken shelter of anyone like Brihaspati, the master, spiritual master of demigods. He can take shelter or Vyasdev, anyone. But here the sentence prapashyami. So here pashyami means see. Right? Pashyami means see. But pra, which is insisting, like we say you and only you and only you, so that type of this prefix is pra. So pashyami is see and prapashyami is in insisting I can see only you. Who can remove my uh, sh- uh, shoka lamentation? What is happening because of lamentation? Uchoshanam indriyanam, his senses are drying up because of this shok or lamentation, and only Krishna you can remove that. So one may think that if Arjuna wins the in the war, then he will get everything that is needed to be happy. Right? Generally, we think like that. People think like if they have what they have avapya bhuma asapattanam rudham. So if they have power, they have um, place of to control, to the prosperous place, no enemy, and a land to rule, uh, and adhipatyam, supremacy over everyone, and rajyam, like the rajya like kingdom, like the kingdom of devatas, then you will be happy. But Krishna Arjuna is saying like all these things cannot drive away my grief or lamentation. only you can prapashyami mama punatya. So only you can drive away my um, lamentation. Nobody else can do that. So not even Vyasdev or Brahma or Brihaspati can do. So in this way, he's taking shelter of Krishna, like that, because he, from the principles of Shastra, he knows that whatever I'm getting, whatever his lamentation, it is not external; it is coming from inside. Right, his heart is in grief. He's feeling the pain in the heart, and that cannot be removed by these external things, because this adipatyam, the supremacy, the money, the prosperous kingdom, everything, these are external things. There's nothing internal in this. So these external things cannot satisfy our internal desires or internal pain. They cannot remove that. So, and like Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, that all these things can be finished at any point. So we cannot depend on these things for our internal peace. And this we can see in our current situation, right? What we are facing this year because of the COVID. Even if you are rich, you have control, you have prosperous business or prosperous company or prosperous land, uh, even if you have that, or you are controller of everything, there is no one who can oppose you. But still, now in a simple this current situation, nobody can do anything. Everybody had to sit home, right? So, and sitting home is also not easy. Even if you have all the facilities, it's all external. Sitting home, you need some higher consciousness, higher studies that engages your mind and intelligence, and you try to go close to your atma. Then only you will get the internal peace to sustain the lamentation, the similar that Arjuna is having. So to sustain this situation, we also need spiritual guidance, and spiritual guidance comes from a spiritual master, and Veda, and study, and Shastra. And spiritual master teaches us how to study the Veda. He guides us, he instructs us in this. So this shloka we can very easily relate in our current situation. And so how much we should depend on all these things uh, is uh, person to person different, but at the end, uh, these things will not give you internal peace. There are many stories in many interviews, right, of the rich billionaire people in the current situation, in the current world economy. They are not always very happy people, right? They have so many problems, and they struggle with their mental stability. There are so many examples nowadays coming up, and that is the one of the weakness of the society that we have, right? If you don't have any spiritual or higher consciousness engagement, then whatever you will have is all external. That does not give you any strength to overcome your internal problems that you face. So, for that, we need guidance. We should be under the shelter of someone who is already doing a spiritual practice. And the best person, like Prabhupada has mentioned, is Krishna, because he will teach. So, we don't have Krishna with us, but we have his representatives, like the spiritual masters who are trained in Krishna consciousness. So that is parampara. They are trained from their guru. Now, if we take shelter of them, they will teach us about the science of Krishna consciousness, and that will give us moral boost or moral support to overcome the internal problems that we have. So, very very practical shloka in this current situation, and it's good that we are reading Bhagavad Gita every day because of everybody's cooperation, and we have a higher We are working on a higher purpose of our life, which is self realization with the help of Bhagavad Gita, which is the supreme instruction from Krishna for all of us. So, this should give us strength to be strong internally. And if you are internally strong, then the external situations will not impact your internal peace or internal stability much. Of course, there will be impact because we are not 100%, but at least it will not impact in a way that you are depressed or you are devastated by the external situations. Like Arjuna is saying, my senses are drying up and there is no one but you who can remove this grief. Nothing else can help me. So it's a very useful shloka and useful teaching to develop our internal higher consciousness to overcome the problems of the life. Thank you very much. If any more points anybody want to add, then please feel free to add. Okay, thank you very much for joining today, and I hope we can pray to Lord that He give us the strength and intelligence to overcome these challenges that we are facing this year. And it's a testing time for each one of us, and everyone is going to through a lot of self introspection. And we pray to God that He gives us right direction and right guidance and instructions through His devotees and through seniors, so that we can mold our life in such a way that we always fulfill the most important purpose of life, that is being Krishna conscious or being self awareness or self realization. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining, and we see you tomorrow again.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna Guruji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining.